Gotta get the goobers out.
Well, that's our cold open for sure. Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket Lists. Your emotions over there are getting more and more sporadic.
Yes, that was the popcorn popping.
I didn't know you were doing visual theater over there.
Yep.
Am I gonna rewatch? Go back? Do I have to go back? Have you been telling a story this whole time?
I might be. There could
be
be a little what's that? ARG, alternative reality game, in the intros for all of our episodes.
Whoa!
Just check it out.
Yeah, so let's move into some opening spotlight here. We could have done a few things, but we decided we were going to do a live reaction to the Whale trailer. For those of you who don't know, this is essentially Brendan Fraser's comeback movie.
He's coming back, baby.
We're going to be talking about another comeback movie here later on, so I feel like this is appropriate.
Yep.
Neither of us have really seen the trailer, at least actually sat down straight through, so we're going to react to it live here right now, and by right now I mean in a few minutes because I got to set it up here. So
first ever for PBL.
We're just gonna cut to that. All right, so there we have it. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was going to be a lot longer when I said we were gonna do this. I didn't realize it was a teaser trailer.
Yeah, it's like a minute long.
So not a lot to go off that. This show's already going off the rails. But quick thoughts on it, I guess. Yeah, from the few clips, it looks like Brendan Fraser is giving a great performance here. Is he in a fat suit or did he?
I don't know.
I
I gotta believe so because I know he is a little bit bigger,
yeah.
But with the whole like breathing apparatus and everything, he looks pretty big.
I just didn't know if he pulled a Christian Bale or not.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't know. But if I had to guess, I would say, yeah, he's wearing a fat suit.
I just find it ironic how he's like, people are amazing, and he's just been like unintentionally blacklisted from Hollywood for the past like decade or so.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like there's some irony there personally, but
I hope this is I think this is going to be a awesome film. I can't wait to see it. And if he does actually do a great job acting, I think this is going to start getting him back into some stuff.
I'll tell you what, if this is as great of a performance as people are saying, it's going to make me even more pissed that Warner Brothers canceled that Batgirl movie because he was going to play the villain in that movie.
Oh, really?
He was going to play Firefly in that. And I was super looking forward to see a live-action Firefly. I was super looking forward to see him in a comic book movie.
Yep.
So there's a sick side of me that almost wants this performance to be bad. So that way because if it's as good as they're saying, I'm going to be even more pissed at Warner Brothers. Yeah. And I'm coming for you still. I don't think I've forgotten. It's been months. I don't forget. I'm like an elephant. I've hold on to grudges from elementary school that I haven't even had contact with in years. So come at me. But yeah, that's our quick thoughts on the Whale trailer. Premiered this week. Already been premiering in film festivals.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll get a chance to see that
and
later on this year.
I've listened to a couple people that have seen it, and they really loved it. And they didn't obviously spoil the movie or anything, but they just said his acting was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I'm super pumped. Don't know how I'm going to be able to watch it. Hopefully it comes to our theater near us. But we'll see.
We'll keep you posted on that, of course. And let's move on to the weekly preview then. Pretty short list here as we move into November. You wouldn't be able to tell, though, from our first movie. It's already struck a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
In November.
Early November.
Part of me would want to skip this if it wasn't for one of the stars in this movie I feel like we need to talk about. But coming out Thursday, November 10th, Falling for Christmas. This is coming straight to Netflix. The Return of the Lohan. Was that a reaction?
I was falling. I'm falling for Christmas.
When did you decide you're going to do theater performance in that chair?
I've always been an actor.
Have you just been performing and I just haven't been paying attention?
My stage is life.
We've been doing this for years. Have I just not been paying attention to what you're doing over there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, now I'm going to watch you a little bit more closer. But like I said, Lindsey Lohan is back in a Christmas-themed rom-com, Looks like it's straight out of a Hallmark movie, though.
Yes, this is a Hallmark movie with the caveat of having Lindsey Lohan back. That's what it is.
Yep.
And I'm falling off the cliff, and he grabs her hand, and then the ring comes off her finger as they fall. Hilarious.
Yeah. So she falls off the cliff, gets amnesia, found by a couple people. She grew up in the lap of luxury. Now she has to find a way to kind of fend for herself while she tries to put together her memory, which also, okay, so a little bit of nitpicking here, but in the trailer, she's like, she can't remember her name, but she can remember that she doesn't know how to do all this
and
normal stuff.
And is very like, oh, I hope that's catered, or do you have maids? And it's like,
how do you know all that and not your name?
Yeah.
But to be completely honest, I want to see Lindsay Lohan's come back as much as the next person.
I do too.
I don't know if this is it. Maybe it's a rebuilding process. Got to start with some of the crappier movies, the ones you don't like as much, just to kind of put a few building blocks down.
Well, and if let's say it goes on to do some sort of little tiny success, a handful of people see it, they say, oh, Lindsay Lohan wasn't that bad in this film. And then the next movie that comes out, you'll have a group of people that said, hey, she wasn't that bad in the last one. Let's go check this one out. Maybe she'll be, you know what I mean? It's just that little building block, like you said.
Also coming out that same day, Lost Bullet 2. Same thing, also coming out on Netflix. Not a lot we can say about this because it is a foreign film. I think French. I think they were speaking French. Easily something I could have looked up, didn't.
Yeah.
Shows how much
It reminds me of Fast and the Furious. Like, it gives me Fast and the Furious vibes.
You read my outline. You stole my joke, you son of a gun.
Yes, I did read the outline and stole your joke, yes.
I was just kidding. He doesn't read the outline. He says he does, and then I'll be like, oh, what do you think of this? And you're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, you didn't read it, you liar. But I was thinking the same thing. It does have Fast and Furious vibes. I was going to say it's like Fast and Furious meets Fury Road because these are tricked out, gadgeted cars.
True.
Like he's got, the best way I could describe it is like a giant taser on the front of his car.
And like BattleBots, it slides under and it flips.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So, but I didn't see any jumping skyscraper to skyscraper or putting a car turning it into a spaceship.
It's nice to see we've got a little bit of realism back in our car chase movies.
The giant taser flipper is much more realistic than flying space cars.
Yep.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Let's take a quick second here and talk about the Marshall 6 Theater here in Marshall, Minnesota. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is premiering this weekend. They have plenty of screens, but you want to make sure you get there early so you get the perfect seat. I've got my perfect seat, so I always make sure that I go early to get the area that I want. Yeah, I'm picky like that, but if you're going to enjoy a movie, you want to make sure you're in the right spot. So get there early. Check out showtimes on the website.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And then finally, Friday, November 11th, the big premiere, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This is coming straight to theaters. The sequel to 2018's Black Panther. And, I lost count of what number in the Marvel Cinematic Universe
37.
movie. 37?
37?
Okay, cool. Did you just pull that out of your, or is that?
No, I think it was in the outline.
It definitely wasn't in the outline. I'm looking at it right now. So you just made that up.
I just pulled that out
Everything
of that.
he says is a lie.
It's called acting.
You sit on a throne of lies. Speaking of Christmas movies. But yeah, not only does this movie have to one-up the smash hit of the first one, because the first one made a huge amount of money.
Yep.
Not only does it have to live up to the bar set by Endgame, which arguably no movie has yet, it has to deal with the real-life tragedy of the passing of Chadwick Boseman. That is such a tough juggling act.
Yep.
Full disclosure, I got a chance to see it early. Without going really into spoilers, I guess, I think it does this juggling act very well.
Okay.
I think it really nails it on all three, potentially. I'll get a little bit more in detail into that later. But yeah, any thoughts you have before going into it or anything?
So I just recently watched the full trailer, or at least the new one, the extended one, and it gave me a lot more info about the movie. Because before it was just, here's a couple of new, like almost like scenic shots of Wakanda, and now it's like looks like there's army people and there's like an underwater serpent god and all kinds of things. So it's like, oh, now there's some sort of plot that they have to it. So I think it's gonna be good. I'm like I said, I'm excited for it. I liked the first one. I think this one will be good. But I am interested to see how you said they juggle all three of those, because those are big shoes to fill, and
any one of those would be a
explanations
huge challenge
Yeah.
for a movie to deal with.
Yep.
And now it's got to take on all three.
Yeah. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be cool.
And finally, coming out this weekend, Is That Black Enough for You? Also coming out to Netflix. It's 3 Netflix movies versus a theater movie.
Yeah.
It's a fight to this.
Who's gonna make more money though? The theater movie.
Netflix isn't going to release that data, so we can't say that for sure. But
Yep.
Anyways, this is a documentary basically about the history of black cinema and black actors, and you see a lot of interviews from kind of today's stars. You got Samuel L. Jackson, Lawrence Fishburne, just to name a few, basically kind of talking about how when they were younger, how they reacted to seeing someone of color on the screens for the first times for them.
Yep.
And seeing them in certain genres. I think there's a moment in the trailer where Samuel L. Jackson's like, he saw someone who took on the cowboy role. I mean, we forget how big the Western genre was. That was essentially the MCU back then. That was comic book movies back then.
Way bigger than.
Even
yes.
bigger, yeah. So to see that representation was probably a huge moment for young kids like that. So it really goes into the history of that while also showing the real life impact of that. And that's what I love about documentaries.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think this is the film I'm most excited to watch out of everything coming out this week, even more than Black Panther. Is I love the history behind TV, films, directors, actors. I mean, we talk about it a little bit, but a lot more in person about like some of the documentaries that we've watched, or like when you see a movie or when we watch films together and like a little nod or a little callback to another film that's like, you see that? That was from, so nobody else has any idea what we're talking about. It's like, that was really good. That was funny.
But with that, let's move into some number one recommends, talk about what we've seen recently and what we think you should check out here as well. We've gotten some good suggestions in person. Unfortunately, just haven't had a chance to watch them yet, but keep an eye out.
Yep.
There's a few on my list here. But I'll let you go first, mainly because I don't know. I asked you last night, and then you got sidetracked, and then you left, as once again you looked at me with your eyes saying, screw you, I hate you, and everything that you love.
That's true. I did.
We're fine.
I did say that with my eyes.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, but I didn't say it with
No
my
drama.
mouth, so it's not like a... It's not a slight
It just
or anything.
proves you are a good actor. Better than I thought.
One of the
Anyways,
best.
what do you recommending this week?
So this week I'm going to recommend the film 1917. This is essentially a oneer of World War I. Soldier has to get a message from one side or a couple of miles away to the other side of the Western Front. Absolutely fantastic film. It's actually not a true oneer. It's supposed to look like it, and what I mean by that is a single shot. It just continually goes like a real-time shot, but in reality it's a handful of different shorter 7-8 minute long scenes or shots all clipped together to make one film. So it's absolutely fantastic. The storytelling's great. The special effects, and like what we talked about before, a lot of times we talk about just how did they use the camera? What tricks did they do? How did they get that shot? Was it a drone? Was it a crane? How did they do that? Was it CGI? And this is a absolutely fantastic film, and it's very practical, as in they have the camera actually doing this, and some of the explosions, they're actually exploding dirt onto the soldiers, and they're running, and people are running into each other, and it's awesome. I highly recommend it. 1917 World War I film. Beautiful.
I am going to talk. I had one in the bank in case I didn't like this movie, but I think I'll save that for next week. I'm going to talk about Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. There it is. Yeah, you knew it was coming. I had a chance to see it early.
I knew.
I'll address kind of the elephant in the room for me, the runtime. It is longer. This movie does have a lot of ground to cover, and a large part of that, like we talked before, the three things it's juggling, it does have to deal with the death of Chadwick Boseman and talk about how are they going to move on without his specific character in this world. And they could have just as easily done kind of a thing at the beginning and said, we've moved on, it's 1 year later, whatever. But they kind of include it into the story later on, I think, in a way too. So that does add to the runtime, I will say. It is a little bit slower paced, but like I said, it has a lot of ground to cover. It's got a whole new world to introduce into the MCU, whole new characters, but characters with interesting backstories, I would say. So as a stickler of runtime, as I am, I didn't find it bothering me too much. The action is great. The visuals are great. They really try to do it on as many practical sets as possible, which I do appreciate. So, latest addition to the MCU. I think I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I think the MCU is at the best it has been in a long time. So, and I think this continues that. But that is going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. If you have any of your own movie recommendations, let us know in the comments down below or on the street. What are you doing now?
Nothing.
What are you...
Just hanging out.
I turned my head on you for like 2 seconds, and you're sending some subliminal message to the people out there right now. Feels like he's talking behind my back. That's what it feels like right now. We're gonna deal with this betrayal afterwards internally. Right. HR will be contacted.
Yeah, they're already on the way.
In the meantime, for myself and Ryan Meyerberg, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies. No, seriously, what were you doing?